Hi guys, welcome to the video walkthrough of the 2021 Bullet 287 QBS. We're going to start at the front with the A-frame hitching. So you have your ball mount goes in here from your tow vehicle, and then this is your locking pin that goes down, and then you have a little coupler pin that goes through there to make sure that that doesn't come up when you're traveling. That's very important that you have that both down and around the ball and the pin through it. Otherwise you're not securely locked. The battery disc is this little cable right here, this one here. Let's pull it out. So it looks like this. It attaches to your tow vehicle outside of the regular chains, and its purpose is to, if the tow vehicle ever separated from the trailer, this would get pulled, and it has a little pin device under there that pulls, which then activates the electric brakes on the unit to stop it from rolling. To make that work, you have to have it on board, or have to have your battery, which would be located here, and it has to be charged. So without a charge, it won't be able to run the brakes. So when you're traveling, say to be safely traveling, you have to have a battery on board, hooked up and charged to be able to run those brakes. Then you've got your power cables, your regular chains that need to be crossed, and then you go a little farther back, you've got your power tongue jack. So on for here, so you'll see this little light there for a little docking light at night. So that's on and off, and then you got your extend to go up or your track to go down. If you ever have an issue with this, there is a gearing mechanism in there. You take this rubber cover off, and there's a little handle inside that you put in there, and you can manually put that jack up or down if there ever was a problem with it, so it keeps you going. Behind that, you've got your propane tanks. They come with a cover. There's two 20-pound propane tanks on this. There's a valve system here that you can switch from one tank to the other or both. We do recommend you just do one tank at a time. If you drain both tanks at the same time, then you're going to be out of propane. This way, if you just drain one, then switch over to the other one, you can take the other one and get it filled, and you still have propane. So we just say drain one at a time. Behind that, you've got a brand new onboard battery. It's fully charged, ready to go, and all hooked. And on the other side of that battery is a battery disconnect. So there's a couple of settings. So right now it's turned on so that the power is on from the battery through the unit. When it's time to store your unit, and you don't, or even for a temporary time, so say a couple of weeks, and you don't want the clocks or radios and stuff inside to draw the power out of that and kill that battery, you can switch this over to off, and then that disconnects the battery, so no drain will be off of that battery while it's being in storage. If you are storing your unit outside in the winter time, you want to take this battery right off anyways and store it inside in a warm place on a trickle charger for the winter. Otherwise, your battery potentially could freeze, crack, and then it's completely destroyed. So we'll put that back to on for now to make sure that the battery is connected and running through the unit. On the front of this unit, there are some LED strips at the very top there. They are switched on a control inside this side of one of the compartment doors. So right on the wall on the inside, you'll see a round light that you can press, and then the light switch that turns those on and off to run them at night or whatever you want to drive them or use them for. And then we're going to keep going around this side of the unit. So this is the time when we kind of pause for a minute and start talking about maintenance of your RV. So all of these joints through here, along your compartment doors, down your slide box at the bottom, and then up along the roof and on each end of the trailer up top. There's all kinds of different of RV caulking that's used throughout, and all of it is very high quality stuff, but over time, if it's not maintained, it can dry out and crack and let water into the unit. So you have to do a visual inspection. The manual and the warranty of the unit says every 6 months. We say do it more often than that to save yourself some grief. And if you find that you see a part that's kind of separated a little bit, or it's dried out and maybe it looks like it's going to crack, well, it's time to take that bead of caulking off, clean the area, and then put a new bead down. That way you'll make sure that your caulking stays pliable and isn't cracking or letting moisture in. Moisture is the enemy, and you don't want to go down that road. The other part of maintenance that we talk about is roof maintenance. So your roof is a rubber membrane, and if you don't treat that, clean it and treat it on a regular basis, the rubber will crack over time, and again, you potentially have moisture problems in your unit, which again is a big problem. So if you clean and condition it with the proper RV products to do that, you'll do that every 6 months, like spring and fall kind of thing, then you'll maintain that rubber roof for quite a long time. So 2 major tips to do. It's kind of like changing your oil in your car. If you don't do it, you will have problems, and the manufacturer won't stand behind you at that point. So it's necessary to do that kind of maintenance. It's coming down the unit. On this side, we have the first one of the big compartments. Now they're wider this year. The width of them is really big. It gives you a lot of access. And on this, you've got your little wet bar area here. So on the top, you've got your fresh water, so onboard storage for water. You unscrew that, and that's where you'd put your hose just to fill a tank. It doesn't connect anything, but it's just a tank that gets filled with fresh water. That will run through your plumbing if you use your electric water pump. And so it goes into your taps and everything, so make sure that that's clean water you're putting in there, and don't leave water in there for a long period. Otherwise it can become stagnant, and if you're going to use that, it could be a health concern at that point. On the right side beside that, you have your city water connection. So let me get this cap back on. There. So this is your city water connection. So this is a different kind of connection where you're going to physically connect your hose to that and then snug it down with that ring there. It's a plastic fitting, so you don't want to over tighten that in terms of like using a plier or everything. But you snug it until it stops dripping, and then that uses the pressure of the tap or the post you're hooked up to. Whatever pressure is in that goes into the unit, and then pressurizes your plumbing and everything. One little tip on that is that we do recommend you purchase or use a pressure relief valve on your water hose to make sure that it does not exceed the pressure that the RV can handle. Residential style plumbing